After losing my memory in a car crash, I called the contact saved as wife in my phone. Get over here, right now. 2 seconds of silence on the other end, then a woman's voice, completely thrown off. Excuse me? I said it again, slow and clear. Get over here, right now. Another silence, long enough that I thought she'd hung up. Then came this quiet little laugh. Hard to read. She sounded like she was laughing out of pure irritation. Do you even know who you're talking to? I glanced down at my screen. Wife? Big and clear right there. I fired back, totally unbothered. My wife. Why, are you not? That shut her up completely. But honestly, I didn't care. I was starving, my head was killing me, and I was in a terrible mood. This so-called wife had the nerve to give me attitude over the phone. I took a deep breath and my voice suddenly went all soft and sweet, like I was pouting. I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2. I was just about to hit 3 when she finally responded. 2 words, low voice, clearly gritting her teeth. I grinned. I could not hide how smug I was. Ha! Smart girl. And I hung up. Meanwhile, at the Shen Group's top floor boardroom, 20 executives were sitting ramrod straight, barely breathing. The projector was still on. The slide was stuck on page 3. The marketing director stood frozen, laser pointer in hand, because their CEO, the woman who never ever took calls during meetings, had just pulled out her phone in front of everyone. Not only did she answer it, she actually spoke. And then she got hung up on. The entire room went dead silent. Everyone was sneaking glances at Shen Yuchu. She sat at the head of the table, sharp suit, cold expression, staring down at her phone screen, completely unreadable. Then she let out a quiet laugh, stood up, and said 2 words. Meeting's over. Nobody had even processed it yet when she was already walking toward the door. She paused right at the exit and turned to her assistant, Liu Yanran. Go get a bowl of bird's nest porridge. Bring it to the hospital. Liu Yanran hesitated. Right now? Shen Yuchu looked back at her, one cool, flat stare that basically said, Are you serious? She said, My husband woke up. He's hungry. Then she walked out, didn't look back, straight to the parking garage. She'd been sitting at my bedside for a full day and night, only left to come deal with this meeting because I still hadn't woken up. The meeting had barely started when my call came through. She drove fast. Sitting at a red light, she finally thought, what exactly am I rushing for? But the second it turned green, she floored it anyway. When the hospital door swung open, I was sitting there turning an apple over in my hands. Wanted to eat it, just didn't feel like peeling it myself. Was about to put it down when I heard the door. I looked up, and there was a stunning woman in my doorway. I broke into a smile immediately. This woman was gorgeous, like dangerously my type. I asked, testing the waters, who are you? Shen Yuchu stopped in her tracks. She studied my face for a second, then walked over to the bed, gave a cold little laugh and looked down at me. You don't recognize me. I looked her over carefully. Gorgeous. That part was undeniable. If I'd ever met someone this beautiful before, I'd remember. But I genuinely had nothing. I shook my head honestly, I don't. I lost my memory. There's a lot I can't recall. She just stood there staring at me. Said nothing. It was starting to make me uncomfortable. I scrunched up my nose. Why do you keep staring at me like that? She leaned in closer, eyes locked on mine. You really don't know who I am? I leaned back a little. I honestly thought this woman was kind of dense. I already said I don't know. Why does she keep asking? I shook my head again. I don't know you. Shen Yuchu saw how guarded I was and clearly didn't like it. She reached out and grabbed my chin, jaw tight. Then why did you call me just now and call me your wife? Oh, that clicked. So she's my wife. But I just lost my memory. My brain's not working right. How does my wife look this sharp and still not make any sense? I rolled my eyes at her, smacked her hand away, held up my phone. Look at it yourself. What does your contact name say? Shen Yuchu glanced down at her reddened hand, still processing. Then the phone was shoved right in her face. She looked up at the screen. 2 big characters staring back at her. Wife. Her eyes went blank for a second. Her jaw twitched. She knew exactly who had changed that contact name. It was me. 3 months ago, I grabbed her phone and changed it myself. Then I showed it to her all proud, like, you're mine now. Back then, I was soft-spoken, barely dared to raise my voice. I was nervous just changing a contact name. But now here I was, holding the phone up like I had every right in the world. Aren't you my wife? Attitude, nerve, the whole package, like a tiny cat puffed up for a fight. Shen Yuchu was quiet for 2 seconds, then gave in. Yes, I'm your wife. I blinked. Then why were you still asking me? She said, completely done. I just wanted to confirm. Now that I knew it was really my wife, I had 0 reason to hold back anymore. Confirm what? I'm the one with amnesia, not you. You didn't even recognize your own husband. I literally thought I'd called the wrong person. Shen Yuchu took a long breath. She never realized before how much I could just talk. But I was still sick. So she kept repeating it in her head. He lost his memory. He doesn't mean it. By the time she'd pulled herself together, I'd already shoved an apple into her hand and casually told her, peel this for me. Shen Yuchu stared at me in disbelief, pointed at herself, then at the apple. You want me to peel your apple? I glanced at the apple, then back at her. My face said it all. Yeah? She looked at me, this completely shameless expression on my face, and felt her temples start to throb. But she sat down and started peeling anyway, telling herself over and over, "It's fine. He has amnesia." She peeled and said, "I had someone make porridge. It'll be here soon." My eyes lit up. "What kind?" Shen Yuchu caught my expression and smiled just a little. "Bird's nest porridge." She paused, then added, "Sweet." I perked up immediately. My wife actually knows I like sweet things. She really does care. Okay, this is definitely my real wife. Satisfied, I leaned back against the headboard and started placing my order. Porridge alone isn't gonna cut it. I want a little cake, too. Strawberry from that place in Nancheng. Go get it. Shen Yuchu looked at me with this flat stare. I was just lounging there, hair a little messy, face pale, but eyes absolutely sparkling. Bossy as ever, like I was running the place. She watched me for a moment and then she just laughed. A quiet one from somewhere deep in her chest. She said, "Okay, I'll send someone." And that actually caught me off guard. I thought, my wife's got a really nice smile. But I shook that off real quick. I kept going. I don't want to be alone. Stay here with me. I want the TV on. Turn it on. And hurry up with that apple. Every time I said something, she said okay. Immediately, no hesitation. It was actually throwing me off. I squinted at her. "Why are you agreeing to everything?" Shen Yuchu kept her eyes on the apple, voice totally calm, like she was stating a fact. "Because you're my husband." That stopped me cold. I watched her hands, long, steady fingers, that focused expression on her face. Sunlight was slipping through the curtains, landing soft on the side of her face. I thought to myself, she's actually pretty easy on the eyes. No wonder I married her. She finished peeling the apple, cut it into pieces, and set the plate on the nightstand, nudging it toward me. She said, "Go ahead, eat." I looked at the plate, then looked back at her, all sweet. "Feed me." Shen Yuchu paused. She looked up, a hint of amusement in her eyes. "What did you just say?" I crossed my arms. I have an IV in my hand. I can barely move. Chewing away, I thought, amnesia's really not that bad. Can't remember the past? Fine. Start from now. Having a wife this pretty who shows up when you call and does whatever you ask? Honestly, not a bad deal. "You're my wife. If you don't feed me, who will?" She held my gaze for 2 seconds, then picked up a piece of apple and held it up to my mouth. I bit right into it. Only thing is, she keeps smiling for no reason. I'm gonna have to fix that. She needs to know who runs things around here. Sweet and crisp, juice bursting on my tongue. I squinted happily, like a cat getting its ears scratched. She watched me and couldn't help but smile. That's the scene Liu Yanran walked in on, her CEO sitting at the bedside feeding me apple slices one by one. While I sat there with my legs crossed, pointing out every flaw, these pieces are way too big. My mouth is tiny, or how am I supposed to fit that in?